Hi, everybody. Welcome to the Magical Messages of Love. This is Pam. I'm Pam, the messenger of love. And tonight, I've had a lot of spirits come around me already. So we're going to be talking a little bit about that. When you join in, you can go ahead and put your comments in the chat. Just say hi. Or if you have a question, I'll be taking questions throughout this time tonight. So you can put them in there, and then I'll get back to you when I'm ready to take the questions, and we'll ask Spirit and see what the answer is. So tonight I had a lot of spirits come through. There seems to be somewhat of a theme there a little bit. So I'm going to talk a little bit about that. And one of the things that they want me to talk about tonight is the concept of surrendering and letting go to things that are happening in our lives and being more open to that, so we can allow the natural flow of energy and not really try to predict all the outcomes and, be more restrictive with our thoughts on what can be possible. So that's one of the things we're going to talk about. I want to build a lot of positive love energy tonight, and let's gather together and basically kind of come together and connect. Let's support each other and create more love in the world. So tonight I have several different spirits that were coming to me. I have one of the spirits that was it's a writer, Ernest Hemingway came through. Another one that came through was Bob Hope, and also Johnny Carson. And I was feeling the energy of Sonny from Sonny and Cher, and then also I was getting the feeling of Carrie Fisher and Dick Van Patten as well. So there was quite a few different energies that were coming through. A lot of it was feeling like a little bit of, they were bringing a little bit of humor, not just being real serious about their messages, kind of trying to be funny about it as well. So one of the things that they're talking about with the surrendering is they're bringing in the concept of us. We're moving into a different dimensional space right now. We're opening up, we're awakening more. And so in this awakening, it feels strange at times, and we're trying to get used to it and, adjust to what is the next thing and what do we want to do with our lives. And so they're talking about just kind of going with that more, letting ourselves, fall into it, not trying to worry about what it is going to be. Just in your different moments, just let it be free and feel like it's flowing towards whatever needs to come in from the universe. So you can ask your questions in the chat about anything. Like, you can ask a question about something in your life. You can ask a question to one of these spirits that's coming through. You can ask a question to the universe. It's whatever you feel drawn to and what you would like to know more about. So they're also talking about looking through the tunnel of love as they're describing how we're going into this dimension. And as we're going into it, it's like we have this opening and we're beginning to walk into it. And as we're walking into it, we're focusing on the forward movement, and we're seeing the expansion of that energy going out. And they're reminding us to not stop to look back so much as we're going forward with that. As we're going and looking back, we often are not allowing that forward movement as much. And we're also bringing forward the past through that movement. And it's like you're dragging along all of the things that, maybe things you don't even want to pull forward, like things that have happened that you kind of want to leave back in the past, and maybe you want to open up more to stuff that's different. So they're just saying be more aware of that as you're going into a new part of your life and you're going forward. You may pause at times, but try to keep your positive energy flowing in that movement, because you don't really need to carry the heavy burdens of what you've had before. When you have an experience, you learn from that, and then you just keep going, and you can just say, okay, I learned that lesson, and now I can keep going forward to the next part of my life and create something different. You always have that option to, shed things that are not working anymore, let go of energy, transform the energy. And like, if there's something that you are kind of on the fence on, you're thinking about and you can't decide what to do, the idea here is to let go to the universal energy and, let the universe guide you. So instead of holding on really tightly, like if you're gripping onto something, you would literally be like, if you're falling back gently and you're letting, the angels catch you, you're letting the universe support you in that energy, right? It's lifting you up. It's lifting you up higher into the light so that you can be fully in your power and do all the things that you want to do. So when you do let go, what's interesting about that is it becomes so easy and things just kind of magically appear, and all of a sudden the things that you felt like weren't there, you couldn't figure out how to get it to move in that direction or how to manifest something. They appear at that time because you're not controlling what comes next. You're just letting it come in naturally. So they want you to look more at that and how to just be more gentle with yourselves and just let it be a fun adventure of moving through that new dimension, that new tunnel that they're talking about. Don't fight that experience. Let it be more enjoyable. Let it be more of something that really speaks to you and, feels like you have made a lot of cool memories and you meet a lot of cool people, and just, you just kind of go with that experience and you don't feel like you have to accomplish anything. It's just being in a presence of freedom and flowing through everything. So that was the overall message for today, talking more about surrendering. And I know there's times when I feel like I also will want to know what's coming up next, like predict the future a little bit, or am I doing this that's going to lead to the outcome that I want? Like if I really want to achieve something, if there's like a goal that I have, well, how can I surrender and still focus on reaching that goal? And, it's just really listening to your own spirit, listening to your intuition too, will guide you through that. So you're not forcing it as much and you're ready for the right timing of it. It's not coming when it's maybe too soon and you're not ready, and, maybe you're fighting it because you want it faster. So I know I've had moments where I feel like I'm not sure why things are slowing down or stopping. And then I just kind of appreciate it. I step back a little bit and, look at what is in front of me and what I am doing in that moment. What is there that is bringing me more happiness? And, what is the thing that I'm learning at that time? Focus on that more and just say, Spirit, guide me here. Universe, guide me. Open me up to what is next and help me trust that it is coming. It's just in its own timing for when I'm really ready for it. And if you trust in that, what is really awesome about it is then you get so much more coming to you that's at a higher vibration. And that means you are going to be receiving more than you even asked for. You're going to receive it at a much higher level. So it's good to let go so you can let that be in that higher dimension. And then I want to go back to the spirits that I was talking to. So one of the things that came up with the spirit, Bob Hope, when he was talking about how right now he was referring to, I guess, his generation, and how now we have this whole new generation of, people that are doing their calling, following their calling, or, in their craft or whatever it is, and how they, develop their beliefs and their ways that they follow things. And he says that he feels like, his generation, in a lot of ways, he says he felt it was less complicated, and now things are a little bit different. He says you have things that are different. You have more technology, and you have, the things that you can communicate online like we're doing right now. But he says it's good for you also to be able to recognize people that are in your environment too, and, your family members and things that are right around you, and appreciate kind of what's in your own backyard as well, because, you have that, yes, you have that technology, but sometimes it doesn't produce that feeling of that genuine connection. So, just think about how, even though we're in a different, way of doing things, that doesn't mean we have to lose that sense of, being authentic and being caring for each other and really connecting and, taking the time to make sure that your neighbor is, okay. Sometimes too, I know we're in a time when we don't always want to have those connections because we're trying to be cautious too, but just, know that you can still find a way to communicate to people and reach out. And if you see somebody that maybe they need to hear something that day, they haven't had anybody like acknowledge them, like they could be, somebody that's your neighbor. They could be somebody that's the delivery man in your neighborhood. They could be, somebody at the store that you cross paths with. Just remember to give them a positive message of love and hope, and, appreciate what they're doing for you. Even if it's something you haven't even really thought about before, it could be something you've done a million times and it seems like it's such a mundane thing, but just show that appreciation so that they can feel that connection too. And then he was also talking about, I think he's acknowledging how his way in his generation, he was bringing people together and giving them that, that's something to look forward to, like he's talking about wanting us to do. So he was doing that in a different way than we would maybe do now, but he still built on that a lot and continued to create those connections and, like reach out to other people that were his colleagues and make it even bigger. And I don't think he really, he says he doesn't see that he ever really backed down from what he was doing. Like he always just kept moving towards how can I, spread more messages? How can I, make people have fun or laugh or whatever it is, and just kind of be in a free, fun spirit and just be in the moment. So that's what he was trying to do. And then Sonny was talking about having hope more. When you feel like you're not sure about something, when you feel like you're in a state of despair or worry, whatever that may be, he says, remember, you're not here for a dress rehearsal. This is your time when you can embrace who you are and embrace your gifts and your talents and use that and let that be something that brings you a feeling of hope. So he says, to remember to bring that in more, that, you're here not to just sit on the sidelines. You're here to be in the action of your life, what you're putting into your life. And so when you're doing that, you're creating these ways for new things to come in, and you're being in your full power of sharing who you are. And people want to see that. They want to see what is possible. And, you can allow them to maybe open up as well when you're doing that too. So he's talking a lot about, he says something like the highway of hope. So now he's bringing in like a reference to giving a stream of energy. He's saying there's a highway of hope that you can create when you are being in that place of just continuing to do things that are for you to express yourself and, be in your true self. Be your true self. He says, be your true self. Be your true self. Your talents, you can uncover your talents when you're trying things that you haven't tried before. And then as you're doing that, you might go in one direction and then you might slightly change that direction. But as you're doing it, you're getting more confident. You're getting into that feeling of, yeah, this feels right. And okay, maybe this doesn't, I don't like this as much. Let me go this way. So you're trying to figure that out by trying it. If you don't try, you'll never know what's possible. So he's saying, what about the possibilities? What about the possibilities? What is possible? There is so much more that could be a part of your life if you would just take that step, take that first step towards making it be real in your life. So if you've thought about something you've always wanted to do, you can start to do that. Let's say you always wanted to paint pictures and you've never painted before. And so you just decide, okay, I'm going to go get some paints, or the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to go sign up for a class, whatever the first thing is you're drawn to, you can do that and then see what it is for you. Is it something that's just, a fun little activity, a hobby? Is it something you want to do more with? You never know where that might lead you. It might open up your creativity to then, start to see what else you can create. And maybe it's more a part of your, not just your hobby, but what you produce for others and how you share with people. So let that creativity come out more is what I want to say, because I think when we're in our creative mode, like if we're writing or if we're doing music, maybe we're even outside, just walking outside, anything where we're just kind of letting go with our mind and just getting into that feeling of what that creativity is, it allows you to be more in your spirit. So that way you can be real. You can be real with yourself. You can just be anything. There's no restriction there. And that's what we want to be. We want to allow our energy to be unrestricted, very expansive, and let it grow more. So it's not, it's not too contained where you don't take those opportunities to be yourself. You want to be able to feel out what yourself is, and you'll only feel that if you do things that are, allowing you to be creative and expressive. So also, we have Johnny Carson, and he, of course, talked about laughter and how much, he said something like, look at how much laughter you have left in your life and how you can fill it up to the brim and, even overflow the laughter. And he was talking about that, and he was kind of trying to be funny about how he was saying it. Like, it doesn't matter what that is for you. Like, it could be dry humor. It could be, something that's a little bit more on the edge or whatever. Like, he wasn't saying, it has to be something that fits in a box and, only fits certain guidelines. He says, forget about that. Just let it be what it is. Whatever makes you laugh, you could do something, weird that day, like you stumble or something, and that makes you laugh. Just random things will happen to you. It doesn't even necessarily have to be a joke, but, there's a lot of different times when we could just laugh at ourselves, and that kind of releases stuff and allows our energy to be more in a higher vibration, because we're not holding that stuck energy. We're not holding that restriction that we would put there if that didn't happen. So he's just talking about that, just being more like, he obviously had his own style of humor and how he projected to other people, what he shared with people. In a way, he was kind of like, he would speak the truth in his humor. He would just say, what he thought people, would want to hear, to be honest in that moment. Like, what would they say if they could say what they wanted to say, right? And so he was just being real with it, but it created a humor based on the fact that he was just being what, they were experiencing in their life. He was showing what was real. And he says, he even made this comment, which is kind of funny too. He says, who wouldn't want to laugh all the way to the grave? So he's just saying, like, every day, let's just laugh at everything, have fun, like, even just kind of laugh at yourself and things that happen, not in a bad way, but just in a way that allows you to not take yourself so seriously, to not be in your mind and like judging yourself and analyzing everything. On the other side, you're going to have fun. You're going to be over there laughing, and it's all about love and all those things. And so they want us to remind ourselves to be more in that vibration, to allow that to come through, and, to bring it in more now. Let's be there now. Let's not wait till we get to the other side to, be in that freer spirit. Let's be that now, so that we can, just experience it while we're here. Let's make the best of what we're doing here. Let's do our light work. Let's, share love with each other, but let's also just have fun with it and make it a joyful time and not worry about things as much. And then I talked to Carrie Fisher, and so she was talking about, she says, if I would have known what I know now, she says, I would do things differently. She has no regrets, but she says if she would know, back then what she knows now from the other side, what it's like and what that's all about, she might have done things differently. She might have, let go a little bit more. I think she talked about how she felt she was very resistant to things at times, and that caused her to not be able to make changes very easily. And so she just, didn't allow things to be easier. So because of that, she might have coped in different ways that weren't always the best things for her, but it was because she was so concerned with things that she was trying to resist. But she says, like the whole hindsight is 2020, like she can look at it now and say, okay, I was resistant at that time, but she understands that, that's what she knew. That's all she knew at the time. So that's how she functioned. But she says, you think, she made this comment as, she says, you think the afterlife is easy. She says, well, it is. So she says the afterlife is easy. But she says it can be here too. We can learn how to hold on to acceptance rather than resistance. And she says that is the key to being here in a way that is more easy. And so we can be less stressed. We can be, happier. We can live longer lives. We can do all our things that we want to do and live our purpose. So that's her main message is, knowing that you have the choice. You always have the choice, she says. You always have the choice. Don't forget, you have the power. You can make the choice to live your life in a way that is what you feel you're drawn towards. And you can do it in an easy way. You can do it in a way that you're flowing with life more rather than kind of holding on. Imagine the tunnel like they talked about earlier, like the tunnel of love. And imagine you're holding on to the walls. And as you're doing that, you're not really allowing it to flow naturally. It's like you're creating this way of it, the resistance happening. And so she says, there is another way. There is another way. And she says she doesn't have regrets, like she mentioned before, but she acknowledges that she was very, very hard on herself. And so she kind of felt like at different times she should be doing certain things. She should have maybe accomplished more or be, better at something, better at her craft, better at something that she was trying to do that was different, and maybe be sometimes more like other people too. She did appreciate who she was at times, but she also felt like she might have compared herself to other people too much and, lost a sense of who she was as her own self rather than who she thought, maybe people wanted her to be in front of other people in the public and whatnot. So she's just telling us and reminding us that we do have that choice. We can make things easier. We don't have to stay in that feeling of resistance. We can let go at any time and just, feel the energy of just being free and just kind of falling into life, letting it happen naturally and in the, like in the divine timing of things. And then there were a few other spirits that came through as well. And it's pretty much a similar message of us just being connected. One of the things that came through as well was from Dick Van Patten. He was talking about, he says, to honor your fellow man and to hold your hearts higher together and look after each other. So it goes back to that same theme again about being, there for each other, supporting each other, looking at another person as though you're looking at yourself, talking to another person as though you're talking to yourself. How would you treat yourself? How do you want to be treated? How do you want to be embraced and loved and supported? and seeing that as you're interacting with other people, so that you can, you know, create this bond, this like collective energy of everybody just being in this higher love, you know, being in this universal love. And everybody wants to feel that they have support and they're accepted as they are. And so that's a lot what he's talking about. And I think he always had this, he says the way he was in his life for this lifetime, he was kind of like a father figure. And so part of his role was to show how you could be a powerful father figure, but not in a power that would kind of hinder people or scare them or control them or anything like that. It was more of how can you be, you know, strong for your family? How can you be like supportive of your family, but at the same time be nurturing too? So like the typical role for a father may be not so much as that nurturing aspect. That may be often looked more for the mom to be more nurturing. And so he was saying that in his life, as you know, what he did with his work and how he was portrayed, he says that was showing how we can be different. It doesn't matter what our true roles may have been before. You know, our gender roles can change, our family roles can change. And he says we can allow ourselves to be kind of integrated between the two, kind of be more balanced. And if you think about it, you know, like he could still be, you know, in a way taking after the family, taking care of the family, where he was not only supporting them, but being that strength and saying, okay, this is what we're going to do. We're not going to do it that way. He was still showing that he had the strength, but, you know, having fun with it too at times, you know, not being so restrictive about it, you know, understanding that sometimes it wasn't worth the fight for it to be a certain way, you know, like understand the children more. He says, understand the children more. The children now are very aware. They're very awakened and aware of what is going on. And so they know what is feeling right and wrong to them. They know what is that higher vibration. They may not say it all the time. They may not always put it into words, but they feel it. And he says they know that, and so they can experience like the differences in different ways they are with families and friends and things like that. They know when something is at that higher vibration and it's not. And so what we feed them and what we give them, what we gift to them, is what is creating more of what will be in the future. So be kind of, you know, more in your awareness of that, how you can support children to, you know, embrace their beauty, embrace who they are, and, you know, learn that they can be in different roles. You know, they can do things they haven't, maybe in the history of our past, we haven't done before. They can change the roles in the family a little bit. They can have a different style of family. It doesn't have to be a certain thing that has been the traditional thing all these years. It can be something else. And it is changing on us. He says it's changing a lot. And he acknowledges that there are a lot of families that are maybe not together in the concept of what they would have been before. They might have different ways that they're separated, or what you would call maybe broken or split up in different areas, you know, live in different cities and maybe states and countries as well. And because of this, maybe there isn't as much of a connection at times or an understanding of helping each other. He says, even though there isn't that, you know, there isn't as many of the families that are maybe in that older role where they were all together for a very long time. He says, even though now they split up and go in different directions, it doesn't mean that you can't still have that way of creating a bond. You know, he says, even if you're in different cities, even if you haven't seen each other in years, you can start to reach out more. He wants to know what is stopping you. What is stopping you from making those connections? whatever is in your thoughts that's keeping you from doing that, just let that go. Let's surrender that and let it go so that you can begin to go past it and make the connections, build the strength. You can be the one that connects that energy, that is the leader for that family, you know, that creates the bond. So it's like, you know, a lot of times we stand in fear. We stand in this place of, well, I shouldn't do that because, you know, everybody else isn't doing it, or nobody said that they want that. And he's saying that just go ahead and, you know, do it anyway. Do it anyway. If you feel like drawn to do something, to say something, to make a connection, do it anyway, because you never know, and that might help somebody. It might help them heal. It might help them, you know, feel supported. It might help you feel supported. You never know what you're going to find from that, how it can really help and build your life and make it better. Even if it's been years, if it's been, you know, 10 years, 20 years, whatever it is, just know that as long as you're on the earth, remember, we're going to go back to that statement that was said earlier about this is not a dress rehearsal. Even if you have, you know, been so many years without seeing somebody, remember, you're still on the earth. You're still here and can make a difference. You're still here to make those connections. So there's no sense in worrying about that you don't have the opportunity, that you don't have the time, because you really do still have the time and the opportunity. So remember that you always want to look back on your life and say, okay, I did make connections with people, and I did do the things that I wanted to do. And so that's why they're bringing that up a lot, is just being more in our acceptance of each other, not resisting that. And even if you do something and you try to reach out to somebody and maybe you feel that sense of resistance with them and they're not ready for it, you know, that is possible. You can have a family member that is not open to it. Even if that happens, don't let that keep you from at least trying, and then maybe come back to it later if they are open to it. And if it's meant to be, it will happen in the right time. But just know that you're planting that seed, you're putting it out there, you're trying. You know, if you keep staying in the thought, so let's say something happens, let's say you have an argument with somebody. It could be a friend, it could be, you know, in a relationship, whatever it is, it could be a family member. If you have an argument or disagreement, or you don't see eye to eye for some reason, and maybe it happened 10 years ago, and then both of you are not reaching out, both of you are being in what I would call is more of a stagnant, kind of stubborn energy, that resistance, where you're not wanting to reach out to each other. And by doing that, you're actually, you know, keeping the possibility closed, like the doors are closed, okay, instead of being open, right? So what if one of you reached out? I mean, it's possible that both people in that situation want to communicate. I mean, how many times do you ever get into a disagreement with somebody? This is an interesting thought here. Like, we do this a lot in different circumstances. Let's say you're in a relationship, you get into a disagreement. What is the first thing you want to do? You want to go the other directions. You want to, you don't want to pull away. You want to go into your little corners, and I'm not going to talk to you for a while or whatever, because I'm just, I'm too angry or whatever it is. And of course, we want to be more in love and let go of those things and not hold that anger. But just think about how when you do that and you're pulling away, doesn't it feel better when you, even if, if it's a little time has passed or a long time, 10 years, it doesn't matter. When you come back and you realize that that thing that you got into a squabble over, that you didn't agree on, was really not that big of a deal. When you really look at the bigger picture of life and how we are spirits, and we're going to go back to the spirit world when we're, finished with this life, you are going to have all these memories with people. And some of these things are really a lot smaller in the grand scheme of things, the bigger picture. So just know that you can let go of these things. You can forgive for things. You can surrender to the energy and try to come back together and open those doors. I want everybody to think about, if you have a situation some kind of connection with somebody. It could be a friendship, a relationship, a family member that you haven't spoken to in a long time. Or maybe you just kind of have been, you've spoken a little bit here and there, but you haven't been fully connected in a way. You haven't put more effort into it. You haven't felt like it was like building and growing that connection. I want you to try to do this in the next few weeks. I want you to reach out to one person that you feel like maybe you haven't talked to in a long time. Maybe it's not even something where there's anything where there was an argument. Maybe it's just something like a friend you haven't talked to in years. So I want you to reach out to one person, like a family member, friend, maybe if it's just an old relationship or somebody that you feel like you need to connect to, and just say something and, reconnect or develop a friendship from it or whatever it may be. I want you to reach out to that person and just see what happens. And even if you don't make the connection and maybe they're in resistance of it, don't worry about that outcome. I want you to just do it freely from your heart. Just let your heart expand into it. Let that be whatever the universe wants to bring to you. And then if they are open to it, just let that grow more. Let that be something that's creating like a new phase of your life if you want to build that friendship or connection. So you never know. There could be a reason at this time that people are coming together and crossing paths. And maybe as they're doing that, if you do that, if you reach out to somebody, it could be that you need to speak to them at that time. Maybe they need to hear something from you. Maybe you need to hear something from them. Maybe you just need that bond, that supportive energy of we're in this together, we're all supporting each other. We're like connected in this chain of love. We're all together on that highway of hope. And that's what I would like for you to think about opening up to more. And Spirit would like you to allow these things to heal, allow these connections to heal. They said there's a lot of connections that have not been healed for a very long time. And we're getting into a new part of our energy now, the new phase of this higher dimension, that as we move into it more, we really can't carry forward these ways that we feel guilt about something, or we feel regret about something, we feel like we can't forgive something. It's really time to let that go. Our heart does not want to carry forward with such heavy energy. Our heart wants to be light and free. And the only way that you can fully experience that love in its highest power and, just go with the flow and feel that easy energy and be in that laughter and joy is really purging out some of those things, healing it in some way. Now, let's say you connect to somebody. I'm going to give you an example here. Let's say you connect to somebody and you try to reach out to them and they still have that resistance. Remember that you still can forgive somebody and move past it in a way, and know that you did reach out and you did create that healing energy, okay? Even though they may not be open to it. Just know that you did something to create that connection, to let that old stuff go. And that is where it'll allow you to continue to shift in your life. So if you have those things that are kind of like the unfinished business, the unfinished connections, you want to go in there and heal them. So if you can't reach out to the person, let's say you have no way to contact them, or maybe they're in the spirit world, okay? Well, you can really focus on, let's say you meditate or do a little breathing exercise, and you focus on connecting to that person and just sending them love. Just saying that you are forgiving the situation, you're forgiving them, you're forgiving yourself. Let that be what you can bring in to heal as well. So look at every possible way and begin to shift these connections that have been broken or somehow have not been healed and have had that feeling of closure. So it could be somebody here on the earth. It could be someone in the spirit world. So begin to think about that more. Start to do those healing energies, like bringing them in and allowing it to go, allowing the energy to transform. So that is what I would like to leave you with all of the talk about the energy and the connections with who has come in today with the spirits. And so now at the end of this time, what I would like to do is allow a spirit to speak freely and bring us blessings, and we can, have those messages be something that continues to create more abundance and healing in our lives. So I'm just going to take a moment right now to bring in a spirit and let them talk and kind of create a healing vibe for you through the words. So we will see what is created in this energy. Let's just let it be in the moment, and let's surrender to it. Let's fully surrender to the message. I'm connecting to the energy of Selena, who was a singer when she was on earth, and she was an angel on earth. I want to welcome you here today and say hello. It's been a while. I try to communicate to you. I come through messages in music. I communicate through the words still, and in many new songs that have arrived on the earth. I'm connecting to the musicians and those who hold the light in such beautiful glory, and they're so free, and they're free-spirited, and like they're the children of the light. I support the children. I support those who are being creative upon their journey and bringing in the music of the heavens. It makes you want to dance. It makes you want to sing. It makes you want to be yourself. It is quite easy and beautiful, quite wonderful to be yourself. You don't have to worry about it. You don't have to judge yourself. I wasn't always perfect. I didn't present myself as perfect. I presented myself as being free and fun. Be in the moment. Be in the moment. Be free. Feel it. Feel the vibration of the music. Feel the energy. Feel the beat. Feel the beat through your heart. The beat of your heart. It makes a beautiful sound. Sometimes it sounds like raindrops hitting on different things, like maybe it's hitting like a like a can or a, like a bucket or something that's there that catches the rain and it makes a sound and it starts to make different sounds. And do you hear that sound? Do you hear that sound? That's the beat of your heart. It has a beat. It has a rhythm. You can follow that rhythm. Follow that rhythm. Be proud of that. Be proud of who you are. Be it fully, 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 fully in who you are. I carry the spirit of my own inner child to be who I was, even when I was much older. But yet I wasn't that old, was I? I was still that child in a way. I could have been here longer. But you know what? It was time for me to leave a mark on the world. And you get that opportunity when that curtain opens and you walk out onto that stage of your life. You gotta just be fully in your light. Sing that song. Sing that song, ladies. Sing that song. Gentlemen, you can sing your song too. And just feel the rhythm of that light hitting you, flowing through you, being you. I don't regret anything from my life because I was always being myself. I was always pushing the next thing that I wanted to try, the next thing that I was open to. I was open to it coming to me. Nobody told me I couldn't be me. So I followed that rhythm. I was lucky that I had a supportive family and I had people that were uplifting me when I didn't know how big my music would become. I was just a simple girl, really. I was a simple girl. I was a simple lady, simple spirit. I didn't ask for much. I just accepted what was coming into my world. And there were times when I wondered, why me? Why was this happening so fast, so soon? But see, now I have a new perspective. I know that I was only there for a short time. I had to leave all of this beautiful music for you to know that there is a bridge between different people, different ways of growing up and being alive in the world. You have different families and cultures and beliefs, and it's all fine. It's all good. Everything's good in the world. When you believe in that rhythm of your heart, everything's good. I always saw the good in people. I saw the love everywhere. It was like being a kid in a candy store. It was like opening my presents on my birthday. It was like singing for the first time and the 100th time. It was good. To me, love was a lot of things. It was my fans, but it was also my family. My family was everything. And the love of my life. And all the hopes and dreams that I created for myself. I had big dreams, big dreams. I never let anybody tell me otherwise. I fought for my dreams. I fought for what I thought was right for me.
I couldn't hold myself back. I always felt my heart growing bigger and just wanting so much more. So I kept following my heart. I want you to follow your heart too. I want you to be in that feeling of just being yourself, fully yourself, never doubting, never stopping yourself. Just go into what you want, what you desire, what brings you passion and just that amazing love. Now I want to send you my blessings and tell you that as you listen to my message, I'm sending you the blessings of God and the universe speaking to you, bringing it in, bringing it in, bringing in that beautiful light, the blessings for you to go forward, connect to this higher power, and be a beautiful, 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 beautiful shining star. Be that star. You have your path that will open up and allow you to be in that beautiful energy. Sending you much love, much beautiful blessings, more blessings to you and your family. And the hope that you can always grow more love. You can always grow more love. Okay, let me come back here for a minute. That was a beautiful message. I could feel a lot of very, very pure love energy, like very precious energy. You know, like if you were to see a baby born and how it's just completely innocent in its energy coming in. And that's what I was feeling as she was connecting to me, is just being in that very young, innocent energy, not having things affect you and not, changing who you are for other people. And just bringing yourself back to that, feeling those blessings and that easy way of being just simple energy. That's one of the things she talked about, is being, she talked about being a simple girl, like being down to just the basics, what do we really need in life? If you really were to take everything in your life and you said, okay, here's a few things that are most important to me. What if I could only have a few things in my life, whether it's a few connections or just a few things that are dear to you, or maybe it's your, hobbies, whatever those things are that are the most important, they're at the top of the list. They're like, okay, if I don't have this, I don't feel alive. Those are the things that she wants you to focus on, is put more of that into your life. Put more of that basic human need for love. She says at times she may have been somewhat naive in the way that she saw love, because other people may have, saw more of the picture of the hardships of love. But she never really focused on that. And, she says you can still go back and reset yourself. and experience it from that more innocent place. So she just kept bringing it back to that younger energy, just having that hope. She really never lost hope about anything, even if she had a hard day or, something came up, she didn't lose the hope. She just kept going back to, okay, what is it that brings me something that feels good? What is it that brings me that laughter and joy? So she was really good at hitting the reset button and coming back to that. So I just want to leave y'all tonight with the idea of that surrendering again, making a connection with your family and, friends and people that maybe you've lost that connection with, accepting people as they are in our differences, letting that be okay, and not letting things come between us as much anymore. And, just seeing where that leads you. Where does that openness of that energy, that love energy expanding, go for you once you open that up more? So I want to also remind you that I have a couple of meditations coming up. I have one this Saturday at 2 p.m. Central Time. That's a Golden Light of Protection meditation with Archangel Michael. And then there's another one coming up next Wednesday, May 26th, the Awaken Divine Creativity meditation with Archangel Gabriel. And that'll be at 8 p.m. Central Time. So you can check those out if you want to get an opportunity to participate in a group meditation and just get into more relaxed energy and let these angels come in and bring healing to you, bring messages. I will take questions during the, after the meditation as well. So if you have a question for your guides or angels, you can bring that forward during the meditation too. And then if you have any other questions after tonight, if you still want to ask me a question, you can message me through Facebook or put a comment in the chat through the group and just go ahead and put that in there and I'll answer the question as soon as I can. So I just want to thank you for joining, and just know that we are always able to come together and be fully in our power and help each other. It's like we're all connected. We all want to kind of move together in this other dimension they're talking about. I think it goes back to the whole concept of not leaving anybody behind. Don't leave a man behind, don't leave a woman behind, don't leave a child behind, don't leave anybody behind. We are all unique as individuals, but we're all the same. We are all a spark of love. And when you see it in that perspective, it's like we need to build that love energy more by reaching out to people that maybe need that extra bit of, support and nurturing and, whatever it is. Maybe they just need somebody to talk to. Maybe they need to hear one thing for the day. Maybe we can be ambassadors and go out and, tell people things that are very positive and uplifting, and use our words as our power, our tool to change that frequency that we talk about, begin to open new portals of love, begin to, shift the frequency, open up to the angelic realm more, to bring in our spiritual power, to know that we are connected to a higher source, and that source of love, it wants to come in and flow through us. It wants to create more divine experiences. So the more that we can begin to shift towards that and embrace it, just fully embrace what that is, then the more we will see things open up and awaken in our lives and have really a great adventure of life, like a lot more fun times and things that are a lot more easy, like they talked about. So I just want to tell everybody have a good evening and a good weekend, and you can join me next Friday for another Magical Messages of Love. Good night.